Welcome to the first installment of our Prehistoric Politics series, where we delve into the murky waters of ancient history, mythology, and religion. Here we aim to bridge the gaps between these seemingly separate realms by uncovering the points where they intersect. Most people view cosmological literature like the Enuma Elish or other ancient texts as purely mythological. But what if these stories are actually fragmented and allegorized accounts of real historical events passed down through generations, distorted by time and oral tradition? In this series, we'll explore these ancient texts with a new lens, treating them as potential historical records that document the earliest days of human civilization. The gods, angels, demons, and monsters that populate these stories may have been real rulers, warriors, and leaders whose deeds and misdeeds laid the foundation for what would become the great civilizations of the Near East. Our journey begins with the Asher version of the Enuma Elish, an ancient Babylonian creation myth, along with other obscure Babylonian and Sumerian traditions. These texts provide us with a glimpse into the world before the beginning, a time of chaos ruled by powerful deities whose actions set the stage for the birth of civilization. Our story takes us back to around 3000 BCE in Kulaba Uruk, southern Sumer. Here, in the earliest days of recorded history, we encounter the primordial gods, beings who were said to exist before all others. The Babylonian tradition begins with Tiamat and Apsu, a divine pair who were also known in Egypt as Nun and Naunet, and in the Akkadian tradition as Duri and Dari. These primordial gods were believed to be the progenitors of all other deities, the first beings from whom the divine lineage descended. Some scholars argue that Tiamat and Apsu were not gods in the supernatural sense, but rather rulers who controlled vital resources, specifically bodies of water. Tiamat was likely associated with the Euphrates River, while Apsu governed the marshes around Eridu. Collectively, they represented the waters above and below, the forces of chaos and order. But not all was peaceful in their domain. As time passed, a new generation of gods emerged, born from the mingling of the waters. This younger generation would soon challenge the authority of Tiamat and Apsu, leading to a series of conflicts that would reshape the world. As we interpret these ancient texts as historical accounts, we can begin to see a complex political drama unfolding. Apsu, who ruled alongside his queen Tiamat, was a powerful leader, with Mummu serving as his vizier. Together, Tiamat and Apsu had two sons, Lamu the elder and Kingu the younger. Despite Lamu being the firstborn and rightful heir, Apsu favored Kingu, intending for him to inherit the throne. The relationship between Apsu and his firstborn son Lamu was strained. The texts describe Lamu as causing noise, which could be interpreted as political dissent or a challenge to Apsu's authority. Apsu, growing paranoid and resentful, began to plot against Lamu, viewing him as a threat to his rule. But Lamu was cunning and learned of his father's plan. In a bold move, he struck first, assassinating Apsu and his vizier Mummu. This act of betrayal would set off a chain of events that would plunge the world into chaos as the balance of power shifted and new alliances were formed. With Apsu dead, Lamu took control, establishing his rule in Eridu, a city that would become one of the most important centers of early civilization. Lamu buried his father's body in Eridu and built a dam over the site, naming it the Deep in honor of Apsu. This dam controlled the surrounding wetlands, an area that would later be known as the Biblical Eden. Atop the Holy Mound, Lamu constructed a temple, often referred to as the Chamber of Fates or the Chamber of Destinies. From here, he could oversee the drying of the marshes and the transformation of the landscape into fertile land. This achievement earned him the title Lugaldukuga, meaning Lord of the Holy Mound. In Eastern Semitic traditions, he was also known as Ea, or Yah, the Lord of the Waters. In this chamber, Lamu fathered two sons of his own. His firstborn was Asa, or Anshar, who represented the whole of heaven. His second son was Asur, also known as Marduk, the future hero and a son of the sun god. These two would play pivotal roles in the unfolding drama, as the power struggles between the gods continued to escalate. While Lamu was busy establishing his new kingdom, Tiamat was left to rule alone without a king by her side. But Kingu, the favored son of Apsu, had now come of age, and those loyal to Apsu began to pressure Tiamat to crown Kingu as the new ruler. Reluctantly, Tiamat agreed, and Kingu was coronated as king. In a symbolic gesture, Tiamat bestowed upon Kingu the Tablet of Destinies, also known as the Mes, signifying his role as the Lord of all fates and destinies, the holder of the title of Enlil. With this new authority, Kingu became the embodiment of chaos, ready to challenge Lamu and his followers. The stage was set for a final confrontation, a battle between order and chaos, between the old gods and the new. As Kingu gathered his forces, the world once again teetered on the brink of destruction, with the fate of civilization hanging in the balance. As we conclude this first episode of Prehistoric Politics, we've seen how the ancient myths of the Near East can be reinterpreted as accounts of historical events. The gods of these stories may have been real rulers whose actions, whether driven by power, paranoia, or ambition, shaped the early days of human civilization. The conflict between Lamu and Kingu, between order and chaos, is a theme that echoes throughout history as civilizations rise and fall, guided by the hands of those who wield power. In the next episode, we'll continue to explore these ancient stories, delving deeper into the political intrigues and family feuds that defined the earliest days of the world. Stay tuned as we uncover more of the untold history hidden within the myths and legends of the ancient Near East. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others who are fascinated by the origins of civilization.